Welcome to Dom Nai Radio and Television Station. Here comes to the news today. Chairman of Dom Nai Provincial People's Committee, Cao Tiếng Dũng, recently had a meeting with the leaders of Yeongchak districts on socio-economic development in the first quarter of 2023. From the beginning of this year until now, Yeongchak District has implemented the socio-economic, security and defense targets basically according to the set contracts. But the implementation process have encountered some difficulties. At the meeting, the chairman of Provincial People Committee, Cao Tiếng Dũng, asked the districts to grasp the labor situation, especially workers in the garment and footwear industry, to have supportive policies. The provincial resident also suggested the districts focus on implementing social housing projects and dealing with the letters and complaints. Yeongchak District is oriented to urban development, so it is necessary to properly handle and certify waste at source and to manage public plans more closely. The government must actively prevent and control the pandemic. The chairman of the Provincial People's Committee also suggested that the departments and branches handle the recommendations under their authorities so that Yeongchak districts can complete the socio-economic development goals and targets from now until the end of this year. The delegation of Long Han City, Dom Nai Province, visited and gave gifts to the Khmer ethnic people on the occasion of traditional New Year Choi Khanam Khmer at the Hoa Sơn Thử Pagoda, Phú Bình World. The delegation visited and sent gifts to the Hmong, Buddhist and Khmer ethnic people to welcome joyful, warmly safety and economic goals, at the same time recognizing your contributions to the cause of local construction and development at the cost of the work of propagandizing and mobilizing people from armed works applying, especially ethnic minorities, to implement well the guidelines and the lines of the party, policy and law of the state, and actively participate in the patriots emulation movements in the locality. On this occasion, the delegation gave traditional gifts to the Khmer ethnic people, Hoa Sơn Thử Pagoda. The government of Vietnam recently issued Decree 12, which will extend the deadline for payment of value-added tax, corporate income tax, personal income tax, and land rent in 2023. The decree takes effect from April 14 to December 31, 2023. Accordingly, the time limit for the tax payment extensions for the value-added tax amounts is from 3 to 6 months. For corporate income tax, extend the tax payment deadline for the 3 months. For the temporary pay tax amount of the first and the second quarters of the tax period 2023 of enterprises and organizations. For value-added tax and personal income tax of business households and individuals, the arising tax amount deadline will be extended to 2023. Business households and individuals shall pay the intended tax amount in this clause by December 30th, 2023. The decree also extends the deadline for paying land rent for 50% of the uprising land rent payable in 2023. The detention period is 6 months from May 31st, 2023 to November 30th, 2023. Chief Cabinet Secretary Hirokazu Masuno says on April 15th that he has instructed the National Police Agency (NPA) to take comprehensive measures to protect Japanese officers. The directive was issued by Mr. Masuno hours after the explosion at the Saikazaki fishing port in the Wakayama province, where the Prime Minister Kishida Fumio is about to give a campaign speech for the ruling Liberal Democratic Party. Speaking to the reporters, Mr. Masuno stressed that the electoral system is the foundation of democracy and that acts of violence will not be tolerated. Mr. Masuno also mentioned Prime Minister Kishida's decision to continue campaigning right after the explosion. The official insisted the elections would not be threatened or impeded by violence. Leaked documents show U.S. officials were aware of additional Chinese spy balloons in addition to one that flew over South Carolina earlier this year, reported by the Washington Post on April 15th. According to the Washington Post, the balloon that flew over the U.S. earlier this year, known by the U.S. intelligence agencies as the Kulin-23, is just one of at least 3 Chinese balloons that U.S. intelligence agencies have determined. Among the remaining spy balloons, one flew over the U.S. aircraft carrier strike groups in the Pacific and one crashed in the South China Sea. The document cited by the Washington Post refers to the Vulture 21 balloons as being linked to one of the 6 Chinese companies that were sanctioned by the U.S. in February. This is the end of our news today. Thanks for watching. Have a good time. Goodbye.